Hey gardening friends, welcome to my garden. It's a really beautiful day out. This is the first Saturday in the month of July that we haven't had rain. So I thought I'd take advantage of that and get out here and plant a few things in the garden. I've purchased quite a few plants out of clearance and some not clearance over the past month or so. So I wanted to get some of those things in the garden. Let me show you what I'm planting today. I have this trellis that I purchased from Amazon in the spring, and I'll put the link in the description of the video if anyone is interested. But I also purchased this rose bush, and it's been sitting here in the pot probably since April or May of this year, so I thought it would be time to get this into the ground. This is a rose called New Dawn, and it's a climber. It can get 18 to 20 feet tall, and it's been around for quite a while. It's a pretty popular climbing rose bush. It does say that the blooms can be like a light or pale pink, and I've found so far they've been more of a white color. So if you look on the camera, I mean, these are past their prime, but they've really been looking pretty white and small. So I'm going to assume that's just because it's a small plant, and of course it's in a pot. So I'm going to actually plant it right where it is, and then that will allow it to grow up over the trellis. And my plan is for next year to plant another one on this side of the trellis so that it can grow and meet at the top. Now my challenge here is that I've had a lot of large trees in the backyard, so though they've been removed, some of their root systems are still in the ground. So there was a large tree right here, and there was one right over there. So I'm not sure. The tree was pretty much right there. So I may run into a few roots, but we'll see. So I'll dig this hole, I'll see what I run into, and I do have a small chainsaw that if I do run into small roots, I can cut those out. So let's get to planting. Look at those ants. As I suspected, I'd come across a root, but I think I can cut this out. And I'm not quite sure how big this looked like. This may be quite a big root, but if I can get this out, I think that'll be a good start. So I was able to remove some of the roots. I forgot to film it as I was removing them, but you can still see there's several large roots here. You can see where I cut off some of the roots, and I did that using my little chainsaw here. It did a pretty good job of removing roots. So that's probably as good as we're going to get. And so now I'm just going to try to plant it. I'm going to mix in some soil and compost. So over here I have a little bit of Land and Sea compost, which I will mix into the planting hole, and I'll also top the planting hole off with it. So this has been in a pot since I've had it for, I think since May is when I bought it. So it's been a couple of months in this pot, and it's been blooming. And you can see it's put on quite a bit of growth. The darker leaves here is the original growth, and then you see the lighter color leaves, that's all new growth. So first I'm going to trim back these spent blooms, and then we'll pop it into the ground and top it off. I'm going to add a little tomato tone because I'm out of rose tone. There she is, all watered in. Most of the canes are too short to attach to the trellis. I will just let this grow for the rest of the season. If any happens to get long enough, maybe I'll start to attach it. Hey gardening friends, it's been about a week since I filmed that clip. I wasn't able to get all the plants in the ground that day, so now I want to get them in the ground today. It's about a week later. So first let's check on the rose bush and see how it's doing, and then we'll move on to the next plant that I'm going to get into the ground today. All right, let's go. Here's a rose bush that we planted about a week ago. It started to push out some new blossoms, and in fact they are looking a little pink, so that's good to see. So it seems to be doing pretty well so far. I do need to water it, but so far so good. So now we're going to pivot and move on to the next plant, which is this blue spruce. And I've had it for probably a month now. And I did share it in another video, but it's a blue spruce from Monrovia. It's called Baby Blue Eyes. And it gets 15 feet wide by 30 feet tall. And it's hardy down to zone 2, zones 2 through 8. So it's pretty hardy. It's slow growing. It grows, I think, about 2 to 3 inches per year. So not very fast growing. I had an arborist over and I did ask him about the blue spruce. And one thing that he did say was that he rarely sees blue spruces reach their full mature height in my area. So I'm a little less concerned that this will, ever outgrow this space. It more than likely will die, unfortunately, before it reaches some of those larger heights of 30 feet and 15 feet wide. So with that, I felt a little more comfortable with planting it. So let's dig the hole. I'm going to plant it a little bit high. This is clay soil back here. So I'm going to plant it a little bit high, meaning I'm going to dig a shallow hole and let the top of the root ball be above the soil line. So let's get this in the ground. Hole so far. Fortunately, I did not run into any roots, so that made it much easier to dig, even though the soil is a little hard. So I'm going to kind of size this and see if the hole is deep enough. If it is, I'll backfill it with some compost and a little bit of plant tone, and then we'll cover it up and water it in. But I don't, so I'm going to use this planting soil, and it is specifically for acid-loving plants. So I'll just mix that in with the native soil. And this is plant tone. There she is. Isn't she lovely? She's all watered in, and I really did water it really well because the soil, I noticed when I was digging that the soil was really dry, surprisingly. So I made sure to really give her a bunch of additional water, so I hope she's good for a few days, and then I can come out and water her again. Usually, as you know, that first year or two, you have to pay a little bit more attention to the watering of all of your plants, all of your perennials and shrubs. So I'll keep an eye on her for this year and for next year, just to make sure she's getting the water that she needs. So the last plant I'd like to get in the ground today is one that's over here in my stash. And she's not looking too good. She needs to be watered. So this was a clearance plant. It's a Heliopsis called Tuscan Sun. This is Tuscan Sun. She gets 2 to 3 feet tall, so she'll get pretty tall. And I don't know where I'm going to put her. She needs full sun. I think I'm going to put her right here. So this is a perennial salvia that I started from seed about 4 years ago. If you watch any of my other videos, you'll see that I pulled a bunch of this out around the knockout roses that are around the deck. As you can see, as it gets older in the season, they get really not good looking. So even when you trim them back, they just don't look good. So they're on their way out, or at least I'll have them in small quantities in the garden. And these I just placed in the back. I had thinned out another area of the garden, and then I just placed these back here just so that I would have some. But I think I'm ready to move on from most of these. So for now, I am going to remove this one and plant the Heliopsis here. The sad thing about this is that the pollinators really like this plant, but it doesn't work in my garden, so it has to go. So this is where the Heliopsis is going to go. And there she is, all watered in. She's still a little droopy. Obviously, she needed to be watered, so I watered her pretty well, and hopefully she'll perk up in another day or so. Well, that's everything I'm going to get into the garden today. I still have a few more things, but we'll get all of those in time. Thank you for joining me, and enjoy the rest of your day. And as always, happy gardening.